All right, so we are going to go through. Hopefully now you've got a picture customized. Take some time and make that whatever you want it to be. And next we're going to add a little sleep. So we want this picture to actually display before we do our next little bit of code. So to finish this last little section of this page, we're going to add in a line from time import sleep. We're going to add that in at the beginning of our project where we imported our other stuff. So I'm going to click just before the F on our line 1, hit enter, and let's also add in from time import sleep. It's very, very common to do all of your importing, all of these little commands at the very, very top of your project. You should always really do it up there. That way we make sure we have what we need. And then after we've set our pixels, let's say sleep for 2 seconds, so that when we do our next little bit of code, we want our picture to display for 2 seconds before the next thing happens. All right, so what is the next thing that we're going to do? Let's actually use some of our sensors. Let's measure the temperature. So to measure the temperature on our sense hat, it's actually pretty easy. It's going to be one line of code that says make a variable called temp, and in that variable, put whatever the current temperature is from the sense hat. So this will say sense.get temperature. This actually tells the sense hat, go to your temperature sensor and give me the value that it has right now. And then put that value in this variable called temp that we can use. So we're going to see if we can figure that out. Right now, they'll also tell you in this next little box here, if you just entered this code right here and tried to print that out on the screen, you'd see an incredibly precise number with lots of decimal points after it. And instead of that many decimal points, we want to just round it to one place. So just see the 10th place, that's it. So to do that, we're going to round it to one decimal place. And that's what they're telling you to do here. So let's see if we can figure out how to get this to work. So over in your trinket, we need a line of code that says temp equals sense.getTemperature. All right, so after our little sleep command here, so let me just scroll up. So on line 30, I'm going to add a line of code that says temp equals sense.get_temperature. There we go. Adjust it for us. And then we need parentheses after it because it's an actual command. I'm going to give it a little bit extra space here just so we can see things better. So temp equals sense.getTemperature. And then we actually wanted it to be rounded. So before we actually store that value, we're going to round it. So we're going to add in round parentheses just before the sense. We're going to do a comma 1. We're saying it how many places we want it to round to. So the way this works is it gets the temperature, and then it rounds the temperature to one decimal place, and then it puts it in this variable called temp. And now let's see if we can get that to show. So we're going to show the message. We're going to use our show message command again. So we're going to say sense.show message. And this time, because up here our message was in quotation marks, let's get rid of that real quick. Because our message was in quotation marks, it's a string. It's a certain data type called a string, which show message needs a string. This temperature right here is a number. And in order to get it to display properly, we need to turn it into a string. So we do that by using this little command called str. And we put parentheses around it. So you'll have like some weird parentheses stuff going on here. So it's like sense.show_message parentheses str parentheses close parentheses close parentheses. Just go with it for right now. And inside these str parentheses, we're going to put our temp variable. So this will make sure that that temperature is in a format that the sense hat LEDs can display. So if we run it now, we should see a lot of stuff happen now. So we display a message on our screen. After the message is done displaying, we'll show a picture for 2 seconds. And after 2 seconds, we'll scroll the temperature across the screen. By default, I think it's going to be 19.8. You can change the temperature manually here because it's an emulator. You can change the temperature however you want. But just scrolling the temperature doesn't really work very well. So let's see if you can complete the rest of this page to get it to actually give a nice friendly readout of it is blank degrees by adding in some code onto that line. So see if you can get your Sensat to greet us, show us a picture, and then tell us what the temperature is.